Hello YouTube, it is your boy B3 back with another kicking graphic novel review. So I'm still putting off Spider-Geddon, and I'm sorry. But I just read this one, or reread this one, I believe. Godzilla, Rulers of Earth, Volume 5, the next to last volume. So the next volume will be the last one. Either Spider-Geddon or that'll be the next one. Sorry. Kind of count on it being Godzilla, though. Because I keep putting off Spider-Geddon. But I'm going to read you the back of the book real quick. The monster war rages on. Kaiju of the past and future collide. When debris from a battle in space arrives on Earth, it awakens ancient monsters, and Godzilla is caught in the middle. Meanwhile, Mothra is attacked by Batra, who will not stop until Mothra and Infant Island are destroyed. But while Godzilla squares off against Ebirah and Megaguirus, a new threat arrives on Earth, and it may signal the end of the monsters as well as our planet. This collected volume features issues 17 through 20 of the series, written by Chris Mowry and featuring artwork by Matt Frank and Jeff Zornow. Yeah, from IDW Publishing also. This was the third ongoing Godzilla series they did in the last one, sadly. I kind of wish they would have just kept it going with the Godzilla stuff, but alas, they did not. So Godzilla and Anguirus finish off their battle from last time, and the Cryogs left the two psychic human twins for dead. Left them for dead. Remember the ones that controlled Batra in Kingdom of the Monsters, or Kingdom of Monsters, whatever. So they kind of connect to Lucy, and they kind of replace the Shinobin's connection to Lucy, which is kind of sad. And then Space Godzilla attacks the Cryog ship, and the Cryogs, this was a funny part actually. The Cryog leader is like, send out the Mecha Godzillas, and then one of his Cryogs is like, they weren't designed for a space battle. He's like, send them out, and so they eject him into space, and then they immediately freeze over, and then Space Godzilla just wrecked him. Like, duh. And then Space Godzilla fights with Gigan, and Gigan kind of kicks ass. It was pretty rad. Gigan, in Final Wars, Gigan was a bitch, and this is Final Wars Gigan. But he really just kind of wrecked Space Godzilla. And then lots of Space Godzilla's crystal fragments, because you remember when he's flying around, he has those giant, huge crystals on his back in his flying form. And they all kind of crash into the ocean, and they awaken Ebirah, who fights Godzilla. Godzilla's pretty tired because he just kind of gets in fight after fight after fight. He's always exhausted in this title. But he kind of beats Ebirah relatively easily. And then a bunch of people find some Meganula eggs, which of course become Meganulon, and they have the Queen Megaguirus. So that's pretty crazy. So Megaguirus shows up in like the Amazon or something. Or no, yeah, it was a Brazilian rainforest. So in the Brazilian rainforest, Megaguirus shows up with a bunch of babies. And Megaguirus shows up to the fight as well, to fight Godzilla and Ebirah. And you remember Ebirah and Megaguirus were prehistoric monsters that Lucy was told about by the Mothra fairies in a previous volume that we reviewed. I want to say 3? Volume 3, maybe? Yeah, Volume 3 sounds right. So, the Mothra fairies show up on Monster Islands with the twin Mothra larvae. And it turns out the two Batra twins ended up summoning Batra while they were kind of in a coma or whatever. Or they didn't summon Batra, Batra came to their aid anyways. Freed them. And then they used Batra to destroy Infant Island and kill the adult Mothra. So pretty hardcore. It's really sad. And then Batra's coming to Monster Islands in an attempt to destroy the fairies and the larvae as well. But Ebirah gets defeated, swims back to the ocean, and Godzilla's fighting Megaguirus when a bunch of monsters called Trilopods show up. And I am going to show you a quick pic of the Trilopods, just because you might not be familiar with them. Creepy critters. And they're an original monster for the comic. And they're kind of like a natural progression of Orga, because remember, the Cryogs were using Orga earlier in this book. And the trilopods have a similar power. They can absorb the DNA of other monsters and also augment themselves with that DNA. So we get a Megaguirus trilopod, and we get a Space Godzilla trilopod. They're very, very powerful creatures. They're extremely powerful creatures. And they are going to be the final big bad of this next volume that's coming up. But yeah, and then the Cryog Emperor is the one who sent them, not the regular Cryogs. The regular Cryogs have been on this planet for like 4 or 5 years, trying to take over humanity. Sometimes subtly, sometimes not so subtly. But then the Emperor of the Cryogs shows up, and apparently the leader of the Cryogs we've been seeing has some of his own ambitions. Like, he wanted to take over Earth for himself, so he would have his own thing to rule. And the Cryog Emperor showed up, and he was like, yeah, you're not going to do that. This is going to be my world. It's going to be part of my empire. Fuck you. It was pretty rad. But I really enjoyed it. Godzilla Rulers of Earth Volume 5. It's been years since I've read these, because I haven't read these since the single issues came out. Right? So I'm rereading these a while after the fact. And a few years, or a couple of years at least. So I'm really excited to be rereading this series, and I can't wait to reread the last volume and the rest of IDW's Godzilla books as well. So that is it. Thank you all once again for your support. Remember to rate, comment, and subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Facebook, Twitter, etc. We also have Patreon. Please support us there. And we do have our own Toku endeavor that we are working on right now called Toku King. So please support that on Indiegogo. And it will be Godzilla related. So thank you all very much, and I'll see you all later.